Hello there, grade 6. This is Miss Maria. Today is the 12th of October 2020, Monday, day 2 of this week's revision. We are going to revise Unit 3, The Terrible Trickle Flood, and Unit 4, Famous Explorers, Travelers, and Writers. Please check your pupils' book pages 16 to 27 and workbook pages 15 to 26. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, students will be able to, first, recall the words and its meanings from each of the lesson taken out. Second, tell the gist of each story read. And third, identify the parts of a composition. Vocabulary words: nightmare, trickle, lorry, crossing, explosion, corner. From this story, did Alex have a good dream or a bad dream? Alex had a bad dream. What was the lorry carrying? The lorry was carrying Trickle. What does it sound like? Number 1, meow. Sounds like a cat. Number 2, bzz, bzz. It sounds like a bee. Number 3, bring, bring. It sounds like a telephone. Number 4, moo, moo. It sounds like a cow. And 5, tick tock, tick tock. It sounds like a clock. What are they? Number 1, a jar of honey. Number 2, a bowl of fruit. Number 3, a box of chocolates. And number 4, a sack of flour. Vocabulary words: massive, huge, enormous. These words are synonymous words, which means extremely large. Let's look at the pictures and let us find out what were they doing when the lorry exploded. Dan. He was biking when the lorry exploded. Mr. Tracy. He was driving when the lorry exploded. Mrs. Worth. She was talking on the phone when the lorry exploded. Susie. She was eating when the lorry exploded. Mr. J. He was cleaning the window when the lorry exploded. Miss Rose. She was reading the newspaper when the lorry exploded. Mrs. Jones. She was feeding her baby when the lorry exploded. Mr. Brown. He was going to work when the lorry exploded. From the story about Alex, 3 words that mean big, massive, huge, enormous. And the word that means bad dream is a nightmare. Let's match the opposites or antonyms. Tiny, huge, rich, poor, long, short, early, late, fast, slowly, nice, nasty, curly, straight, sweet, sour. Vocabulary: hurt, calmly, gently, press, head. Vocabulary words: terrible, downtown, flow, tragedy, awful, terrific. Let's underline the important words. Terrible, happened, Boston, tragedy, Main Street, many, work, large lorry, trickle, crashed, lamppost, 21 people, injured, lorry, visitor, Great Britain, everything, lorry, big, much too fast, nearly hit, driver, shouting, and corner. Let's identify whether it's a bad news or good news. Really? What happened? That's a bad news. Great, congratulations. Good news. How awful, is she all right? Bad news. Oh dear, I'm sorry to hear that. Bad news. I didn't know that. That's terrific. Good news. Let's have the suitable response for each number. Number 1, oh no, how awful. Number 2, congratulations. Number 3, that's terrible. Number 4, oh dear, I am sorry. Number 5, that's terrific. Number 6, how wonderful. And let us now categorize whether it's good news or bad news. Numbers 2, 5, and 6 are good news. Numbers 1, 3, and 4 are bad news. Vocabulary words. Number 1, trick. Number 2, appear. Number 3, coin. Number 4, matchbox. And number 5, calculator. Let's write a composition on the next slide. Remember, there are 3 parts of a composition. So we have first introduction, body, and conclusion. Do not forget every paragraph or every part of the composition should start with an intention and with capital letters as the beginning of every sentences. Then you should also use punctuation marks. So once again, intention, capitalization, and punctuation marks. Vocabulary words: wrote, century, expedition, explorer, source, silk. From the story on Pupil's book, page 22, what did Columbus and Smith believe, and were they right? What did Marco Polo and Ibn Battuta write about? How long did the journeys take? So Columbus believed he arrived in China, but he was wrong. Speke believed he had found the source of the Nile, and he was right. Marco Polo wrote about his travels to China. His journey took 4 years. And Ibn Battuta wrote about the countries he had visited, and it took him 29 years. Let's complete the sentences with the right endings. Marco Polo had traveled for 4 years. He arrived in China. No one had traveled all along Silk Road until Marco Polo made his journey. In the 15th century, few people believed the earth was round. When Columbus arrived in America, he thought he had found China. Ibn Battuta was a great traveler who visited Mecca. He wrote about the countries he had visited. Before John Speke discovered Lake Victoria, he had traveled to Africa many times. He believed that the Nile started in Lake Victoria. Let's read and find the right words in the box. A kind of fine material, silk, to come back, return, 100 years, century, the road from one place to another, road. People used to think the earth was like this, flat, the place where a river starts, source, to think, to be sure, to believe. Very good, wonderful, to find, discover. Let's rearrange the letters and write them in the squares. Marco Polo was one of these traveler. Vocabulary: voyage, seasickness, hummock, cabin. From the Story and Purpose book, page 24, what was James Hudson's pet? James Hudson's pet was an octopus. Let us put numbers to have these pictures in order based on James Hudson's story or voyage. So we have number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's go back to the story about James Hudson. Which title is the best title of the story? A Long Journey, Hudson's Adventures in the Dolphin, Voyage of the Dolphin, or A Bad Sailor? Either way, it's up to you. Then 4 people you find in a ship? Okay, the 4 people you find in a ship are the passenger, captain, cabin boy, and sailor. Description of naturalist, the tropics in a gaucho. Naturalist studies plants and animals. The tropics are the hottest part of the world, and gaucho is a cowboy in Argentina. Things you find in a rainforest: plants, trees, flowers, butterflies, cocoa nuts, and bananas. Let's answer these questions. Why was Hudson in the dolphin? He was in the dolphin because he had never been to the tropics and he hoped to discover new plants and animals. When did he get a pet octopus? He got a pet octopus in South America. Why was he ill? He was ill because he was not a good sailor and he was seasick. What did Hudson see in the sea, in Argentina, on a coral island? He saw giant porpoises in the sea, couches in Argentina, and islanders who lived on coconuts, turtles, and fish on a coral island. Describe Pacific Ocean. It's the world's largest sea. What would interest a naturalist? Let's find 13 words. Porpoise, plants, butterfly, trees, coral, dolphin, fish, octopus, insects, beetle, tortoise, turtle, and rainforest. Which one is different? Circle the odd one out. Tortoise, dolphin, cowboy, tiny, coral, and hammock. What makes them different? Because tortoise can't swim, dolphins can't fly, cowboys are not on the ship, tiny is the opposite of big, coral can't be eaten, and hammock can't go on water. Vocabulary words. Number 1, you are a life scientist or naturalist who stands for the environment. 2, she's a botanist and spent several years doing research in the tropics or the hottest area of the earth. Number 3, top 3 of South American countries by populations are Brazil, Colombia, and Argentina. Number 4, bugs and beetles have a hard shell-like back. Number 5, captain's cabin or deck house is really big. Let's find Captain's cabin on the Dolphin. James Hudson's things: keys, hat, eyeglasses, smoke, socks, hogbill, and comb. Let's look at the pictures and find an aeroplane and a pomegranate, a fruit. This is an aeroplane and this is a pomegranate. What do you think Sue and Robert did? Was it the first time? Sue, traveling an aeroplane was not a first time. And going to Dubai was her first time? Robert. Having a picnic was not his first time, but eating pomegranate was his first time. Let's choose one of these words and use it in a sentence. Let's read the words first. Gaucho, naturalist, tropics, the dolphin, beetle. I have here 5 examples. Vocabulary words. Ivory, empire, merchant, masts, adventure, and dose. Let's read and correct. WO for word order, SP for spelling. Number 1, you should say, I have never seen an animal like that before. Number 2, Meg always brushes her teeth before bed. Number 3, there were some big red apples on the tree. Number 4, the children ran in and out of the sea. Number 5, it's such a big cake, I can't eat it. Number 6, Lucy sings sweetly. Then let's find the spelling and word order mistakes. Underline and correct them. Number 1, down and up. It should be up and down. Number 2, it should be K never goes. Number 3, stopped is STOPPED, so you should say, I stopped to buy some lovely pink roses. Number 4, having is HAVIN, so you will say, Sue is having such a good time in France. Number 5, have you ever seen knives like this? Number 6, the boys played happily in the sitting room. Let's pair the words that are synonymous or almost the same in meaning. We have enormous and huge, slim and thin, grin and smile, happy and cheerful, small and tiny, noisy and loud, hurry and rush, jump and leap, laugh and giggle, fast and quick. These are notes from James Hudson about animals he saw in South America. So we have jaguar, anaconda, anteater, and sloth. Let's write a composition based from the description of James Hudson about these animals. So we have the anaconda, the anteater, the sloth, and the jaguar. Remember, in writing composition, every part of the composition should start with an indentation. Every sentence should start with capital letters, and do not forget punctuation marks. You can do it!